Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Acoustic Northeast, where we bring you the singers, songwriters, and the acoustic music scene in the Northeast
USA.
Yes, we interview musicians here, and we also talk about the music scene and topics that affect the artist. We interview singer-songwriters who also play live in studio, and our studio is located in historic Brewster, New York. I am your co-host,
Dave Goldenberg.
And I am your co-host, George Malice.
We're brought to you by hereitsthere.com, where you can check out all the great music, live music that's going around locally in the tri-state. Hudson Harding Folk Radio Promoters, and you folky musicians could use some promotion, I bet. And WBXO Internet Radio, WBXO, go to WBXO.com, streaming 24 hours a day. And it's one of the many places you will hear this podcast.
That's correct. And you can listen to us, obviously, wherever you're listening to us now, also on YouTube and at acousticnortheast.com. And we do post the song performances of our guests on YouTube. And today in studio, we have a wonderful guest. His name is Frank Critelli. Frank, welcome to the show, buddy.
Hey, brother, Frank. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, you're like the mayor of Connecticut almost in the music scene.
I think you're confusing me with Frank Critelli.
No. The names rhyme, but I think you're like I'm not even going to say the mayor. You're like the governor of the state.
Okay.
Is that better?
No, that's okay.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're going to talk.
Are you dissing Frank Critelli now?
I'm not dissing Frank Critelli. I just think that Frank Critelli has more pull throughout the state than Frank Critelli.
He's just been hanging around longer.
Hear that, Frank V?
Anyway, Frank Critelli is going to kick us off with a tune. Frank, what are you going to play, everybody?
There's a song about putting one foot in front of the other, and it's called Take Another Step. It's just another step in the process. Evolution leads the way. 'Cause something's gotta change if you want progress. Stop standing in your own way and let the fear inside inspire movement to get on up and out the kitchen door. 'Cause the best way out of hell is through it, and you've been there before. So take another step in the process. Go forward all the way. Be not proud nor myopic. Just see life for what it is. It's just another step. Then take a look over your shoulder and see how far you've come. Then take a look ahead toward the future and see the work yet to be done. Take another and then another step in the process. Evolution leads the way. Something's gotta change if you want progress. Stop standing in your own way and take another step.
Frank Critelli, welcome to the podcast. So some of your songs, I love your music, by the way, and some of your songs are like motivational speeches. Do you write them to like that one, Take Another Step? Was that to like help move you forward, or is that to help people with something that you've learned?
No, it's for me. I think I was just thinking about this the other day because I read something where when you wake up in the morning, say it to yourself. Do it now. Get up. Do it now. Do the 10 push-ups you want to do, or
finish a song or the dishes you didn't do before. But the things you got to do it now. Get up, make, action. That action cures a lot of things, So that's just a song basically to me to say, get off your rear end and do something.
I need to play that song every morning for my wife.
You mean when you're lying in bed for an hour and a half trying to get going?
I'm a champion Herkel-Dürkler.
Whoa, say that again.
Herkel-Dürkling is the art of just lying there in bed.
I never heard that before.
I love that. That's one of those words. I follow the word thing, the word of the day on Instagram, and they have words like that,
Yeah, I should write a song about Herkel-Dürkling, but if that song heard your song, they would explode,
Whoa.
You definitely have that going on. You do, Frank and I, we've known each other for quite a while. And you do so much for the community. It's not just the music, but you bring the music into so much of what you do also. And it's extremely admirable. And I think it's part of your personality of just who you are. You bring together people.
That's my favorite part of it. The songwriting is the one thing. And I think that's the loneliest part. You do that for the most part in isolation or maybe just with two other friends, or something like that. But, I love going to shows. I love getting turned on by other people's music. And I love the feeling that is happening in a place where people are playing songs. And that's always my favorite.
I got to talk to you about one of the things that you do. I got to talk about the Hope Collective, which is really a cool thing. Tell us how that all came about and who the members are and just what exactly you guys are doing.
It started with Eric Robaska. Eric Robaska started the whole thing. He called me one time and he had seen the We Are the World documentary. And I know that's the punchline of people's jokes, like it's a goofy tune and stuff like that. But they had their heart in the right spot, I think. And he was very inspired by this documentary. I had not seen it. And he's like, we could write a song like that. You want to write a song with me like that? And I thought, heck yeah, we'll use it. The past guitar shows that we've worked on and we've done before, we always do a big finale song. I'm like, well, good. We don't have to do Knocking on Heaven's Door now. We can do the song we wrote as the finale song. So we came to my house and we wrote the song in 2 sessions.
Wow.
And it was great.
Yeah, and we were talking earlier off mic about writing and how you seem to be very prolific, and you were saying that, you write songs very quickly. So do you pick a topic, or does it something that's been floating around in your head for a while? What goes on in Frank Critelli's head?
It's a snake pit in there, man. You don't want to go in there. There's raccoons in there. They'll take you down. Well, with the song with Eric Robaska, we sat down specifically with the intention of writing a song that we could use as the finale song for the Passive Guitar shows, and that would be kind of reminiscent of that. So that was a specific, goal that we had for that particular song. For every other song I've ever written in my entire life, just about, I'd say like 98.7% of them, they happen just kind of by happenstance. I feel like a lot of times, and we said this earlier, that songs are there, there's just universal things. And I think when you get into that flow state, either by yourself or with a couple of your buddies or something like that, I think it comes very easily. And you got to put the lightning rods up and you wait for it. And, if you're paying attention, most of the time it shows up. It's like when you're looking for a red car on the highway. Boom, there it is, Or if you're sitting in your backyard and you're waiting for the fireflies to come, and you have to sort of like use your peripheral vision. You're like, oh, there's one, and that's kind of what songwriting is like. It's using your peripheral vision.
Do you have a sort of a disciplined creative practice where you spend a certain amount of time every day?
I wish I did. I think I spent more time on it when I was younger, and these days I kind of wait for it to tap me on the shoulder. I used to tap the muse on the shoulder, and now she finds me.
Does the muse find you at times, because I know what you do for work. You do work that is you're alone.
Yeah.
When you work, you're doing gardening and maintaining convent property.
Acres and acres. Yeah.
So as you're doing that, you got to have stuff that's popping in your head then, lines or something. Or
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
What do you do with them then? You throw them on your phone or something? You keep track of them?
I throw them on my phone a lot when I'm driving in the car. You know, so like you have a 9-hour drive to get someplace, and I don't listen to the radio a lot of times when I'm in the car. I'll hum things to myself, or I'll try to be aware of my surroundings. And I think things hit me then.
Yeah.
And in the notes section in my phone, it's like Jack Kerouac's scroll. Like for the past 4 years, I just add on to the bottom of it. You know what I mean? And it goes on for a long, long time. And every now and then, I'll go back and I'll read some of the stuff, and I'll be like, whoa. That's weird, man, you know? So like, yeah, weird things hit you at weird times. And it's good to have a pen or some sort of device to
I do that. And then like 2 years later, I go back into there, right? And I'm like, oh, delete that. You know, it's like,
Where did that come from? It's interesting how many people have told us that driving is right. George's making the windshield wiper motion. We interviewed somebody, it was Jay Beckenstein.
Jay Beckenstein from Spyro Gyra,
who told us that he would actually make up melodies to the rhythm of the windshield wiper. So I guess he was only creative when it rained. But what is it about driving that sort of brings this out in us? Because
you're in left field, right?
There's something about the road. It's metaphorical. You know what I mean? It's getting from one place to another. We're all on the quote unquote journey of life. I hate when people say that, but it's kind of true, you know? So I think the road's a metaphor, and it shows you who you are, and it reveals things to you as you go along. If, like I said, you're paying attention. You know?
So you don't listen to the radio when you drive?
A lot of times, no. I'll listen to the Allison transmission with Rick Allison.
Right. Let's talk. Well, because we just transitioned right into that. So let's talk about that. The radio show that you do.
I co-host with Dennis Lamar and Rick Allison the local band show on WPLR New Haven. That's 99.1. It's the biggest rock station in Connecticut.
Big station, yeah.
And this show has been on the air since 1988, and it was founded by James Velvet and Rick Allison. And they've been playing Connecticut music on a very commercial rock station for 38 years. And it's one of the honors of my life to do radio with those guys, because they're pros. Rick Allison, you know him. You know who he is. I never knew him. He was a Connecticut guy, and I grew up in Long Island. And when I was a little kid, I used to make my mom laugh by imitating the voice, which I later found out was Rick Allison, that I heard on the TV. And it was the voice that said, "White Diamonds by Liz Taylor, only at Walmart," or something like that. And that was the voice of Rick Allison, and now I get to sit across from him and spin records and stuff.
So what is the scene like? How do you find music and what gets on your show?
The scene's vibrant. It's chock full of people making a lot of great music. A lot of times people send it in to us, and a lot of times we find it on our own. I'm kind of the man on the street just because I go out more than those guys. So, I see people all the time. I'll go to shows and I'll say, "Oh, Brian Larney has a brand new record out, and here it is. Boom, I brought it in," So that's kind of, people find us and we find them.
Not before, but earlier on, you were Mr. Critelli, the English teacher. Did you lead a double life as a musician and an English teacher, or did they play together to create some sort of whole?
While I was a teacher, I kept the two worlds very separate. I did use music in the classroom because I think it's a motivator, but most of the students don't know what I did outside of the classroom. They knew I played the guitar because I played it for them. We did a Shakespeare song or something like that, So although I used music in the classroom, I kept the two worlds very different. These days, now that I'm not a teacher anymore, I find that my onstage presence becomes more and more like Mr. Critelli. Kind of like, we were talking before about the community of music places, and there needs to be a facilitator of that community. And I feel like that's what I have matured into somehow.
Yeah, you do. There was a time in your life, I think it was after teaching, that you hit some hard times.
Oh, yeah.
And
dismal.
Yeah, and I mean, you don't have to touch base on that, but where I was going with the question is talking about what you do now in Meriden, Connecticut, with the old church series, and how tell us about that and what it does for the community.
Being in the dark forest or the old church, or both.
You can touch base on both.
Well, I was really thankful for a lot of things because I think everybody goes through their period in the dark forest. So finding people like Dave Cooley and Denise Jones. Dave Cooley was friends with a guy named Mike Wilcox. This is the whole story, I guess. And Mike Wilcox had in Rocky Hill a music series called the Old Stone Church Acoustic Series over there. And when Mike Wilcox started to not feel so well, he wanted the series to continue, but he just wanted somebody else to do it. So Dave Cooley picked it up and brought it to Meriden and asked my help to book it, host it, and things like that. And now we do it in Meriden, and we've been doing it for 6 years, and it's one of the joys of my life. It's important to our community because Meriden's a working class community, and you know how it is with ticket prices these days. Everybody's pushing this advanced sales stuff. All the tickets are $20 or $25. My name is Frank Critelli, and I host the local band show on WPLR New Haven, and I can't afford to go to most shows that I want to go to. Can't afford it.
Yeah.
So at the old church, we're a working class town. We're not elitists. We think music belongs to the people, and that's the way we want to keep it. So we have any donation at the door. We still pay our performers full price, and sometimes we lose money on a show. We've lost money on shows that we should have made money at, But we're stupid and also got our heels dug in that we want the music that we present to be accessible to anybody who wants to see it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful venue too. And, and then you have the people in the kitchen cooking, and people can come early and have a bite to eat and all that.
Bona fide church ladies.
Yes.
Cooking homemade food with love.
Absolutely. I've been up there to a few shows, and it's great. And Dave's giving the signal to Frank right now. Frank, you need to play another song because Malice is talking too much.
Dun, 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 dun. All right. This song has a lot of words, but Hudson Harding is one of your sponsors here?
Yes.
They were kind enough to include one of my songs on their compilation records.
Cool.
And I'm a big Eric Balke fan. I think he's a great guy.
We had Eric on the show recently.
Nice.
Terrific.
We haven't put it out yet, but...
Good deal.
Yeah.
Well, when it is out, what's that website again?
It's called acousticnortheast.com, and it's Northeast, not New England. acousticnortheast.com.
This song has a lot of words, and I remember every single one of them, just not always at the right time. Well, it's too late to know, and it's too soon to tell whether any of this is really happening at all. A detailed simulation isn't out of the question. Neither science nor religion knows for sure. And I spoke with a friend just the other day, the passage of time and the passionate play, and how few still read books or bother to look at the lessons of repeated history. In the second quarter of the 21st century, where the robots are healthier than you and me, and we still go to work, mow the lawn, clean and cook, while AI writes all our poetry. And I spoke with a friend just the other day of Orwell and Huxley and Bradbury. Did no one remember the 5th of November, those who foretold future tyranny? And yet this is the way of the world, since the first boy met the first girl, and it goes on and on and on and on. And the answers still scatter when the wind blows. And so they press the panic button to employ the smoke screen. They distract us with sports and the lottery, give us something to hope for,
a cocktail, a cell phone, and we'll ignore heinous crimes against humanity. And I spoke with a friend just the other day, how divide and conquer is their modus operandi. They say your freedom and survival make your neighbor your rival, but deep in your heart you know it's not that way. And yet this is the way of the world, since the first boy met the first girl. And it goes on and on and on and on, and the answers still scatter when the wind blows. You may say I'm too old, too drunk or insane, but I know who I am all the same. And I know it's true that you can be you, because I without shame. And I spoke with a friend just the other day, how people are unique, that's what makes the world great. Please know you are loved by me and something else, something holy and benevolent that I can't explain. And this is the way of the world, since the first boy met the first girl. And it goes on and on and on and on, and the answers still scatter when the wind blows.
That's Frank Critelli with The Way of the World. Frank, great song. And
Thanks,
I think of you a little bit as a kind of a poet philosopher, and it's not just because you look like Walt Whitman. And
It's the hair, white hair. We all look
well,
alike.
I think you and Rabaska, he's the two best folk music beards
He's still
in
salt and
Connecticut.
pepper. I like him. He's got the salt and pepper thing.
But what I'd like to know is what you think about the intersection of artificial intelligence and art, especially music, but art in general, because of your literary background as well.
Well, I like things, when it comes to art, I like things that come out of the human mind and the human heart, and not something that's artificial. I get it to a certain extent. In the 80s, I loved Star Wars. That was kind of the same thing, right? Like CGI was the precursor to all this AI stuff. They were making things up for a long time, and even like photo doctoring, like switching photos. That's not really Lee Harvey Oswald. The shadows go the wrong way. They splice that head on there. Like they've been screwing with us forever, and we don't know what is real and what's not real. That's why I love live music so much and the community of that, because there can't be any AI there. It's happening right in front of your head, and that's why we talked about like Ellis Paul jumping off the stage. That's why I love to jump off the stage too, because now it's just me. You know what I mean? I'm not plugged in. There's no reverb on anything. I don't have any pedals or loopers or any kind of technology at all. It's just dopey me and this silly song that I wrote. You know what I mean? And ha, 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 here we are. And that's my favorite. With warts and all, I like things a little filthy. Get some dirt on it.
I want to talk about look, we all know a lot of musicians, a lot of singer-songwriters, and there's the ones that get up there and they play their song and then they say thank you and then they play another song. But that's not you. I believe you take your personality and you transform it on stage. And I think it's you. I don't think it's an act or anything like that. I think it's just you and the way you are and your personality when you perform. Is that pretty true?
I could choke up. We talked about that. We're both sensitive guys.
Yeah, we talked about
I could choke up about that because I feel like that is the real me and everywhere else is a big fat act.
Okay.
Sometimes like you got to be that to get through the world. You know what I mean? Like the surly guy at the gas station or something like that. It's an act. When he looks at me tough and I look back at him tough, that's an act. you know.
Yeah.
But on stage, it's not that way, you know. On stage, we're here singing songs and everything is wonderful.
You know, I've always looked at you as somebody who's very genuine, and I always thought that you on stage was the genuine Frank Critelli.
I always felt that's the same way.
Yeah.
And that's why I say, like, with the meshing of, like, the Mr. Critelli persona and the on-stage persona, for me, that's what it's all about. That's the real me. That's my favorite me. Some of the other ones are assholes.
So when you're on stage, you're not just playing music. You're talking a lot. It's almost as though you're weaving music and the storytelling into an arc. How do you build that? And do you go into a show with something in mind?
Yes, but it's got to be something that's pliable. You know, you have look. I could do all of these songs, these 25 songs. I only have to do 10, but I could do these 25, and they're written on a notebook page at the bottom of my feet. And, you know, the prophet Mark Douglas Berardo once said, you know, you get to the venue and you got to have your head on a swivel. And, you know, you observe what's going on. And maybe you had a conversation that day, or maybe somebody talked to you on the way in. And you say, okay, well, I'm going to do that song now because that person said that. And you use the atmosphere to sort of influence the set list.
That can come only with experience.
What's that?
That can come only with experience then.
Well, maybe, or just like knowing your songs, like the prophet George Malice, you know, practices every one of his songs every time he sits at the piano. So
Yeah, and still screws them up.
right? but you're able to just about play anything.
Well, that does come with time, I believe. But you're right about reading the room and what Mark Berardo said.
Yeah.
Very, very true. Yeah, because you look, and then there'll be people who say to you, you know, can you play that song or whatever? And one of the things that I love is after I play, and unfortunately it doesn't happen all the time, but the best thing to me is when somebody comes up to you afterwards and they, you know, put their hand on their chest and they say, thank you, that one song or whatever touched me. And that just makes the whole idea of being a writer come to life.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Right? I used to do a haiku lesson. And with haiku, there's, you know, the 2 lines and the 1 line, and usually there's a dash or something to set off the 2. And those are like the filaments on an old light bulb, and the electricity happens in between. So when you're singing the song, you send out, you know, your message. That message is received, and then when they feed back, that completes the whole communication cycle. You know what I mean? And that's when it's the best. Hey, look, I said something, that person heard it, and then they paraphrased it back to me, and they told me what it meant to them. And, you know, primary objective completed.
Yeah.
You know?
And we talked about, you know, your community work and that kind of stuff. Talk a little bit about a different project that you do with the Bargain, your band, and how different that is from your solo stuff. I believe it to be a bit different because you're playing with, you know, a couple other guys and everything. Tell us about them and how you guys go about doing your thing and writing.
Muddy Rivers and I have known each other since about 1991. I was a big fan of his band at the time called Common Ground. Shandy Lawson and I met at around 2000, and I recognized him as a lifelong friend the second I laid eyes on him.
Yeah, 2 great players too.
Absolutely. And then during the pandemic, it just happened to be we were all in this room in my kitchen at the same time, and we started to write songs together. Now, nobody plays the guitar like Muddy Rivers. He's an absolutely unique guitar player in my mind, and he comes up with things that I would never come up with. So when he was playing the guitar, new words were coming to me in different phrases and lots of different things. And then Shandy would color it in with mandolin, you know?
Yeah.
And it was great. And I loved writing songs with those guys and feeling like we were in a gang. You know what I mean? Like we were in a gang. And right after this, we were going to go out and, like, you know, beat somebody up, man, and ride our motor. Like it was a real brotherhood, you know? And that's what attracts me to the Bargain, you know? It really is a brotherhood, and I feel like I'm in a gang. Like I have brothers, you know, ride or dies.
Absolutely. You do some other work for another radio station. Tell us a little bit about what you do for Pam Landry and her show.
Pam Landry is the goddess. She's one of the most familiar and friendly voices on the radio in Connecticut and New York, for that
Give the
matter.
people a little background on her and how long she's been in radio and where she works.
Well, I knew her as Pam Landry from WPLR. She was the program director there, and she had the midday show. And she was always, like I said, a really friendly voice. And she did the Landry's Luncheonette, so people would call in with requests, and she would talk to people and say, hey, this goes out to George and Brewster, blah, 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 or whatever, And one time, I was in the car on my way to my friend's house, and I had a gig that night, a really good gig. And she played a song on the radio. I was opening for Arlo Guthrie, and she played an Arlo Guthrie song, and she said my name on the radio. I didn't know her back then. But when I got to where I was going, I called the radio station up. I'm like, hey, thanks a lot. I'm Frank, you know what I mean? And you said my name on the biggest rock station in Connecticut, and I feel really cool, And she was just a nice person. And WOW Radio CT, which is 97.7 WATR Waterbury, is a news station, and they have a lot of the old popular voices from WPLR, Pam Landry being one of them. And when they first started up, I kind of got an ad hoc job of introducing them to the local scene. So I would go in once a week on a Friday for 2 years, and I would either bring a buddy of mine in or somebody who was playing the old church or whatever gigs we had to promote. I would bring a friend in, and they would play on the air and introduce them and stuff like that. And now they do that every day. Pam Landry has a local person on every day.
Yeah, that's why I wanted you to bring her up, because what she does for the music scene in Connecticut also.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge to have that.
Yeah. Shout out to Z-Man. Steve Zion is the guy who owns that station, and he's the whack job who
I met him.
He's a nut. He's a wonderful, beautiful, intelligent nut.
That describes a lot of people, I know.
Yeah. All of our friends. Aren't we lucky ones, right?
Tell everybody where that station is located, because it's really cool.
Well, Steve Zion owns a Toyota dealership, and the radio station is inside the Toyota dealership just because he wanted to have a radio station.
Good for him.
And for 2 years running, it's only been on the air, I think, for 4 or 5 years. And for the last 2 years running, it's been the most popular radio station in Connecticut.
Yeah. And I know Pam does, I think, weekends once in a while on the Peak.
That's right.
In White Plains.
Yep.
Wherever it is. Yeah.
Frank, where can people find your music?
We do a lot on Bandcamp. So it's just bandcamp.com/Frank Critelli. But all the links are at...
Critelli, Critelli.
Correct. 1 T, 2 L's. FrankCritelli.com is just a collection of links. So if you go to frankcritelli.com, it'll send you to a whole bunch of other places where you can actually hear the music.
Okay.
It's been great having you on the podcast.
It's been great hanging out with you guys.
Having you.
And thanks for the bagel.
We only provide the best, right, John?
New York bagels.
Right?
We're in New York. Why don't you take us out with a song?
You got it. All right. Well, this is a sing-along song. And we were talking earlier about meeting people and doing all that stuff. And this is a special song for me because it's about 3 specific people in my life that I know, kind of on the periphery. But, being able to drive around and sing songs for people in different places that you don't know, you get to meet people along the way. So when I sing this song now, it reminds me of like the 10 minutes that I spent with, Lisa at the counter in Folly Beach, or the 20-minute conversation I had with Angry Johnny on the run walk over there in Savannah, Georgia, or, Thomas, the guy who I bought the walking stick from, over there. And he told me a story about this. So every time I hear this song, it's just about people. The man in the group home down the street from me waves every time I drive by, and I roll down the window to raise up my hand, and we flash each other the peace sign. And it flows like a river the same way every day. I look forward to it every time. I hope you have someone like that in your life, who waves to you and makes you feel fine.
And the old woman who works in the grocery store, I can tell has the hots for me, 'cause she blinks her fake eyelashes slowly and clicks her gum in a seductive way. And it flows like a river the same way every day. I look forward to it every time. I hope you have someone like that in your life, who winks at you and makes you feel fine. 'Cause it's a long way down the river, and it's a long way home. And I hope you have someone special in your life, who smiles with you and helps you have fun. The old man in the tall house next door to me, he walks his old dog every day, and I watch as he walks by my window. And one day I'm gonna say hey, and it flows like a river the same way every day. I look forward to it every time. I hope you have someone like that in your life to say hey to and make feel fine. 'Cause it's a long way down the river, and it's a long way home. And I hope you have someone special in your life, who smiles with you and helps you have fun. Yes, I hope you have someone special in your life, who smiles with you and helps you have fun.